I'm Nicole and welcome to my channel. I decided I wanted to do a fairy townhouse build inspired by the fairy pack. It's kind of a long one, so let's just get right in. Like I said, my inspiration was the new fairy pack. Fairies have been highly requested for such a long time. They don't really change my gameplay because I don't really play with occults, but I know that it's something that the community has wanted for a long time. My feeling on fairies is they're just like any of the other occults. They're cool to have in the game because it adds just a little bit of extra chaos to your game if you want to include it. They're fun and wacky. Like, who doesn't love Vlad showing up at their door and walking in like a vampire and sucking their blood? It just throws your game off, gives a little bit of excitement and some wacky fun chaos. When I first started this build, I knew that I wanted it to be a townhouse-like feel where there's two buildings and they're attached together or attached by something like most townhouses are. Also, my idea was to have a good fairy and an evil fairy. When I first started making the shell, it actually looked like fairy wings to me. So I thought that was a fun little nod to the whole fairy idea and building this in the fairy world. I did struggle a bit with the roofing because I knew that I wanted it to be curved either inward or out, have sort of a whimsical curvy look to it. But I'm not the best at roofing. I try my best. I know that practice will make perfect or almost perfect, but I always struggle with trying to make sure that the roof looks good, makes sense, doesn't have any double layering to it like it can sometimes look. So it took me a little bit to figure out the roof, but I eventually got it and I feel like it came out pretty good. You'll also see that I decided to give both houses a little balcony in the back, as well as a little front deck area. I thought the front deck area that kind of wrapped around the sides and to the back gave them a nice little addition to the shape, while also giving the Sims a place to go out and spend time outside, as well as the balcony areas that I put in the back. When doing the roof, you'll also see that I use the green trim from the fairy pack. I actually was looking for a purple trim for the evil house, but I realized we don't have any purple trim in the game. I don't think we have any purple trim. So I ended up going with the green trim. I think it turned out okay, but we don't have any purple trim. We need purple trim in the game. So you'll probably notice I'm struggling with the stairs because I felt that the inside was a little tighter than I wanted it to be, but I didn't want to change the shape of the build, so I kept messing with it. I kept changing where the stairs were. I eventually found a spot that I thought fit nicely in the evil house build, but I still struggled a little bit with the good house build because, again, I just wasn't sure how I wanted the floor plan to lay out. I didn't want the stairs to block anywhere in the house. I wanted the Sims to be able to walk around freely and still have somewhat of an open floor plan, if you will. You may also notice that the stairs is clipping through the wall. Yes, I noticed it. It annoyed me too. If you see it, it's probably annoying you. So just know I saw it, I hated it, but there's nothing I could do about it. When doing the floor plan upstairs, you might also notice that the roof is clipping through the wall. In case you don't know how to fix that, if you use the wall tool that has the dots on it and draw over the walls in the place that you want them, that will go away. You may also notice with the stairs that I actually placed the stairs in the good house in front of that little hallway that I had connecting the two of them. I didn't notice it at first, so you're probably screaming at the screen thinking, what is she doing? She has that hallway, but put the stairs right in front of it. I did eventually realize it, flipped them around to the other side. It changed the floor plan a little bit, but it was okay. As I started to pick the colors of the outside, I was a little worried that I would give off a Wicked vibe. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm a musical girly. I love Wicked and I'm super excited for part 2. If you're super excited for part 2, drop some hearts in the comment section, green and pink only, and let me know that you're excited. But that wasn't the vibe that I was giving off here. That's not what I wanted. So I decided for the good house to embrace the pink and pastel type of colors, a green roof, the pink trim, pink on the outside, and also using those more whimsical looking windows that have the curve at the top from the fairy pack. I thought that they added an additional pop of color as well because of the pane in the windows being different colors, kind of different pastel-y colors. I thought that added an extra layer of different color than just the pink. When working on the evil house, I actually embraced the black and purple vibes. I didn't want to touch green because, again, that's more leaning wicked. I wanted more of black evil vibes with this. I actually liked the way that black vine wallpaper looked. I thought that it added a little pop of color to the black, so it wasn't just all black, but I didn't have to use all of that vine on the outside from the various packs where we have different vines included. It gave it that same sort of vine drapery look without actually having to place all those pieces. And then I also decided to go with sort of a plum purple look at the top of that evil house. I thought the color maybe added a little something different than the black so that we weren't just looking at an all black house. When building this, I actually was about an hour in and I realized that I hadn't saved my game. So I quickly saved, and thank goodness I did, because my game crashed right after that. I did end up losing the outside wallpaper. I had to put that back, and some of the floor plan on the inside. It was okay. I didn't lose the whole build, but thank goodness I saved when I did. So if you're playing right now, save your game. So as I mentioned before, I did put a little hallway to connect the two houses. I know some townhouses are connected right from wall to wall, but this one I wanted to have a little degree of separation with just a hallway, still having them connected so the two fairies could actually never get away from each other. I wanted it to have the feel of, even though they're polar opposites, they still are stuck together. I was struggling with the inside. I was struggling with how I wanted the floor plan to be laid out and whether or not I even liked the way that I had the floor plan at this point. So I decided to jump outside and start working on some landscaping. You'll also see that I used the new glass wallpaper, the one from the fairy pack I put on the front of each of the houses. Again, using kind of a lighter tan color for the good house and that evil purple color for the evil house. I also used the base game glass wallpaper for the hallway. Again, just so you could see straight through. I liked that kind of being sort of a portal to the other fairies world. Now, let's talk landscaping, because I am not confident in landscaping at all. It's a little intimidating to me. I've mentioned this in other videos, but I try to do my best when it comes to landscaping. I never feel like I'm doing a good job. I start placing things down, hoping that it looks good, but I found myself using the Lil Simsy method. Shout out to Lil Simsy. In watching her videos, she often talks about how she layers the landscaping and fills in holes. And I just kept trying to tell myself that. I kept trying to use that method to try to make sure that I felt like I was layering the landscaping. It wasn't all just one level. It was different colors, different pops of color, and really just trying to fill in any holes or gaps that I saw. It's still a work in progress. I still feel like I have a long way to go when it comes to making sure that I'm landscaping the way that I see some of these builds. But for what it was, I thought I did a pretty decent job. If you're struggling with landscaping like me or don't feel confident, like I said, in watching Lil Simsy's videos, she really does make it seem like it's easy if you just layer. And I think by using that method, the front of these houses actually came out pretty good. So my idea for the good house when it came to landscaping was just to make sure that I had lots of different color. I wanted the flowers to look soft and sweet and just blend really nicely with each other. I liked those little pointy flowers that you see across the front of the deck. I felt like they added a little bit of whimsical to them while also having a bunch of different light, pretty colors to give the build something different. So it wasn't just all pink. And then when it came to the evil house, I knew I wanted something that looked dark, that embraced that deep purple color that I had the house, but also was a different shade of green leaves too. I wanted darker leaves. I wanted pointy leaves, kind of like spikes coming out. So I found those pointy, low-lying sort of bush things. Bush things is the technical term for them. And I decided I wanted to use those kind of to be an accent to all of the landscaping that I was doing on the evil side, while also putting in some flowery bushes along the way to give it some different pops of color, but nothing that was quite like the Good House. You might also notice for the Black House, I actually used those other windows from the fairy pack, the ones that kind of look like they're melted. I thought that was a great look for the Evil House, to kind of have these melted looking windows. It gives a completely different vibe than the clean cut fairy looking ones on the other side. This one gives a real evil kind of melting off the wall sort of look, and I loved that. You also might see that I decided to use the butterfly window on the Good House and the bee window on the Evil House. I thought that told a funny little story, kind of thinking that butterflies are soft and innocent and sweet. Not that I know anything about butterflies, but that was kind of the vision that I went with. And bees have their stinger. They'll sting you, they'll hurt you. So I thought that was a cute little nod to the Good House and the Evil House. Now, once I felt like I was okay with the outside and kind of how that was looking, I decided to jump back inside and really dive into the floor plan of the Good House and what I wanted it to look like. I figured I would take it one house at a time, so it wasn't too overwhelming or intimidating, even though I was overwhelmed and intimidated. So once I went inside, I decided to start in the living room. I felt like the space in the living room was really tight. I felt like all of the inside was really tight, but I wanted it to still seem open and have an open floor plan feel. So I didn't put any walls or archways in the Good House. I decided to use 2 rugs, kind of layer them in the living room, put the TV on like a little table, and I actually found a couch that had a little bit of a curve in it. I thought that kind of added to the whimsical look. I also like those couches that have the preset pillows and blankets. I think it gives the house a feel of being lived in. And I love that The Sims has added that to the game. I think it's realistic. I think having a pillow on your couch and a little TV blanket is super realistic. So I wanted to find one that I felt fit that, but also fit nicely in the space. So it was a little difficult, but I did find something that I thought looked nice with the space. I also absolutely love those leafy vine curtains. I thought that they looked really good. Added a little something green into the inside of the house. I did have to size them up and down to make them fit what I wanted them to fit, but it turned out okay. I think they look really, really good in the pink house. I knew that I wanted the kitchen to be bright and vibrant. I decided to use those white countertops with the gold trimming on them. I thought it really looked nice. I used that flowery wallpaper to give it a little pop of pink and green. Again, just a nod to the outside, that pink and green on the outside. I wanted to utilize that space in between the stairs and the wall in the kitchen. So I felt the best way to utilize that was to give it a little breakfast nook. I put a window there so that they're not just looking at the wall when they sit there and eat. They can look outside, people watch like I like to do, but I felt like it made it seem a little more open by having the window there so they can sit there and eat their breakfast and not be staring directly at the wall. I also went ahead and used the white and green leaf rug. I thought that also added a little bit of color to the white, and it matched with the green leaves in the wallpaper as well as the green shelf that I put in the kitchen areas. Speaking of that shelf, I love that shelf. It's so cute. I love how it's not a perfect shelf like we have. Most of the shelves that we have in the game are just perfect, clean cut lines. I love that this has a little bit of curve to it. It looks like it was homemade, and I love that. So I tried to make sure that fit into both of the kitchens, the Good House kitchen and the Evil House kitchen. We're going to jump away from the build really quickly. I just want to talk to you guys about me and what's been going on. If you're visiting my channel for the first time, you might see that there are videos over a long stretch of time. And making content for YouTube is something that I'm super passionate about. I love doing this, and every time I have to step away, I feel so bad about it. In case you all don't know, I am not a full-time content creator. I actually do have a regular 9-to-5, and I know you're probably like, Nicole, everybody does. But I'm trying to find the right balance between making content because it's something that I love, something that I'm passionate about, while also managing my regular 9-to-5. And I have a 2-year-old, so when I'm recording, it's never a dull moment. I do have the help of my husband. Shout out to him. But I just wanted to chat with you guys, let you know that I do plan to have more content. I'm trying to work it into my schedule so that I can post regularly because this is something that I enjoy. But I know that there are adjustments that need to be made in order to make this happen, in order to allow myself to fully embrace and commit to making content on YouTube and not necessarily doing it because I want to blow up or get big. That's not the goal. The goal is just to be able to do something for me and do something that I enjoy. But like I said, I know adjustments need to be made in order to make that happen. It's funny because talking about adjustments, a friend of mine has a YouTube channel called Be Bold Tarot, where she gives tarot card readings. And just this week, she had a video that was talking all about adjustments, talking all about making the sacrifices for the things that you want and the fact that adjustments are hard. And they are. I'm sure anyone out there could recognize that when trying to do something for yourself, it's always hard to make those adjustments. It's always hard to make those sacrifices. But once you do and you finally hit that end goal, you realize just how important it was to make those adjustments in the beginning so that you can have that end goal that you've been working towards. And for me, at this point, I've been trying to make content on and off for over 3 years. And the fact that I keep coming back to it lets me know that it's something that I'm meant to do. So I don't mean to get all mushy or really go into any sort of sermon, but I just wanted to talk to you guys, let you know that I am going to be working on more content because this is something that I enjoy, not because I have to, but because I want to. So now that that's out of the way, let's get back into the build. You might have noticed that when I was doing the downstairs in the pink house and trying to clutter up the space around the desk, it took me a little bit of time to go through the clutter and really figure out what I wanted to use. Now, don't get me wrong, I love that we have so much clutter in the game. I really do. I love all the clutter kits. I think it's realistic. I think that it gives the game something for us to continue to explore and build with. And we could make every house so unique by just adding in different clutter items. But there's just a lot to go through. So it took me a while. I wanted to make sure that it looked good, that it looked lived in. If you like the clutter kits, let me know in the comments your favorite clutter kit. If you don't like them and you feel like they're a little overwhelming, let me know that too. Put it in the comment section. Let me know that this is too much, it's too overwhelming, but I actually love having the extra clutter. I love that we have the clutter for different rooms, kitchens, bathrooms, and just like everyday items in the house. Like I said, I think it really gives that lived in feel. And I think that makes The Sims so much more realistic. When working on the upstairs in the pink house, I decided that I wanted the fairy's bedroom to be connected to her child's room. So you'll see that it's all one big room with a little archway separating it. I like the story that told. I like the fact that it made it seem like she's a single mom that has to have the kid in the room with her. And actually, it's something that's super realistic. I live in a townhouse and my son's crib is in the bedroom with my husband and I. Sometimes when you're in an apartment or a townhouse, a smaller space, you don't have the room to be able to give everyone their own bedroom. When I was all done with it, I actually liked the kids' bedroom better. Then I jumped over to the evil house. Now, for the evil fairy, she doesn't have any kids. In my brain, she has a cat, a black cat. Now, I'm not saying all black cats are evil. All I'm saying is that in the eyes of the world, when it comes to Halloween or something dark, they think of black cats sometimes. So that's where my brain went. I felt like the floor plan for the evil house was very different from the floor plan of the good house. It actually felt a lot tighter in there than I anticipated. So I decided to put the couch facing the front door with the TV kind of in that bump out area. At first I was like, is it going to be weird to have the table of the TV kind of sticking out into the entryway of the house? But I was able to put some clutter there, a plant, and try to cover that space up. I think it turned out okay. I actually even managed to fit a fireplace in that living room, which how I managed to do that, I have no idea. But I wanted something different from the other house. And the dark moss of the fireplace that I placed in the evil house, I thought fit with the house very well. I also decided to double layer the rugs like I did in the Good House, just to kind of, again, give them a similar vibe, but different color scheme. And I think it turned out to look pretty good. When working on the office in the Evil House, I wanted to embrace the purple. I wanted to use that purple desk because I felt like it really embraced that dark, deep purple. There's also that same color swatch for the bookshelf, so I was able to use that in there too, and I thought that worked perfectly. I liked that flowery rug. I thought that also added a little something to the room, different pops of color, so it wasn't all purple. It had a little hint of black, and the different colors in that rug allowed for the purple to not be too overwhelming. I thought it would be cute to put a little poof bench in the corner there by the bookshelf, and she also has a little guitar. I thought it would be cool to kind of make her a musical sim as well. You may also have noticed that I put a white notebook on the Evil Fairy's desk, and I put a black notebook on the Good Fairy's desk. I thought that was kind of a funny, ironic thing to do. I felt like it actually made it seem like, as much as they are not the same, there's a little bit of the other in each of them. To know that the Evil Fairy actually likes and embraces the white notebook and the Good Fairy embraces and likes the black, like I said, it just made it seem like they were connected, even in as much as they're not the same. When I moved on into the kitchen, I actually decided to really embrace the black. So I went with the black and gold countertops. I wanted it to be super dark, not dark as in lighting, but just dark as in color scheme. And I actually love the way that it turned out. The hints of gold in the marble, as well as the gold sink and the gold in the appliances, I think really made it all come together. And yet again, I used that really cool misshapen shelf in the kitchen. I just love the way that shelf looks. I then jumped upstairs and I decided that I wanted to work on the bedroom. I used the bed from the fairy pack in that room and a lot of this like viney wall decor. I thought the spider webs was a good little add to the wall as well. It wasn't real spider webs, it's just decor, so I thought it added something different. I also threw in a cauldron. Now, hear me out, because no, she's not a witch, but I could see her using her herbs and her fairy dust to make some evil apothecary things in that cauldron. So it was all part of the story for me. It tied in. I felt like it was a funny little nod to add the cauldron, just to give her an extra flair of evil. I also threw the apothecary table in there too, out in the hallway, and I wanted to make sure that she had a crow. Again, similar to the black cat, I felt like crows just have that view of being evil, of being part of the bad side. So I gave her a crow too. And in my brain, her cat and her crow are kind of her pets, the only things that she truly loves. I went ahead and gave her a telescope on the balcony just in case she wanted to use it and maybe get struck by a meteor. I thought that would be a funny addition to the story too. Once I was done with the inside, I decided to go ahead to the outside in the backyard because I never did quite do a backyard. I gave each of them kind of a little area where they would have their grill, a little bench, area to sit down and eat. I decided to use the same fencing to kind of go around the outside of the yard. I thought about putting a gate in so that they were both gated off, but I didn't feel like any of the gates really matched what I wanted. So I decided not to use the gate, but I did give each of them a decor box and a couple of fun places to sit outside in the backyard. I did realize in looking back at this that I never put a trash can outside. I put trash cans inside, but I forgot an outside trash can. So if you do play with this house, you'll have to add a trash can outside. Sorry. So now that we're nearing the end of the speed build, I'm going to jump into the game and just give you a tour of both houses. So as you already saw, I built it on this tree lot here in the world that came with Enchanted by Nature. Ignore Ghost Monica. She's been through some things, but I just want to give you a tour of the house. So as you can see on the outside, like I said, I tried to embrace a lighter, pinker look for the good house and that darker, more evil, sinister looking house for the evil house, with of course my nod to good and nod to evil with the butterfly and bee on the outside. When entering into the good house, you'll enter through the front door here. I did put a little chair on the outside in case she wanted to sit down and knit or something on the outside, but you'll enter through the front door. You come into, like I said, the open floor plan of the living room area. I did use these tree wall decals to kind of give the room a little bit of something, and put a little chair over by the window too in case you wanted to read over there. If you come down this way in the hallway and look over here, you'll see her little desk area. She could put her keys and her phone down right over there if fairies have phones. Walking back this way, you'll enter into the kitchen. Like I said, this is where I have like the little kitchen area back here. And over in this corner is the little kitchen nook where they can sit, eat breakfast, and look out the window at their side yard, kind of at their neighbor's area over there. I also love these decor items for the shelf. Again, I think it really gives a lived in look, and I like that. So I added a lot of that to the build as well. And of course, the cow plant has to be involved. Then if you go up these stairs, you'll enter in to the hallway where I have the little fairy house bonsai tree. This is the doorway to the other side. And then coming down this hallway, you have the bathroom over here. I used a lot of the new stuff from the pack, put a little plant in the corner. Then across the hall is the entrance to the Good Fairy's bedroom. I used that little canopy over her bed. I thought it was a nice little add to the space. She has a little bookshelf and dresser area over here. And then you walk this way and you go into the kids' room, which, like I said, I just love. I think it's so fun. I think it's so youthful. They have the little acorn toy box there with all of their toys on the shelves. And I love this light too. Again, just giving it a nice, fun fairy look. Then moving over to the evil house. Again, I gave a little chair on the outside. Thought it would be a good little nod to them kind of having the same thing on the outside, but being two different people. Like I said, embraced that purple look with the melted looking windows, which I love. Of course, Monica's going into the evil house. But then if you go on the inside, you walk right into the living room. Like I said, I wasn't sure how I liked the table kind of popping out into the entryway, but I put the plant there and a little bit of decor, and I thought it was okay. As you can see, I also decided to use that flowery wallpaper from the Love Struck pack. I actually think it looked really good in here. Like I said, I did put in that fireplace, and over here you'll see the cat tree underneath the stairs and the cat's bowls and stuff right there. Then going into the kitchen, again, this is one of my favorite rooms in this house. I just think it looks really good, simplistic, but also I love the gold mixed in with the black. I think it really looks good. Then heading into the office space, you'll see the desk area with some bookshelves and the little reading nook that I have over here, as well as her little guitar right there to be able to play some music. Heading up the stairs, enter into the hallway. So over here, you'll see the apothecary table and the easel right there. Going into her bathroom. Again, similar to the Good Fairy's bathroom, I used a bunch of the stuff from the fairy pack. And jumping over to her bedroom, I really like how this turned out. I love the black vines on the walls with the spider web decor, and then of course her cauldron, and she has a little nod to her cat right there on the wall too. And then out on the balcony, like I said, we have the telescope, and actually they both have a telescope. So I guess I was going for double telescope deaths. Well, it's all for the story. And then they each have something to also build up some skills. Then if you're looking at the backyard, in the Good Fairy's house, you go out through this door. In the Evil Fairy's house, you kind of go out through this side door in the kitchen and come down the stairs here. She also has her little outdoor seating area. Like I said, kind of simple, but just a nice little space for the two of them. They each have their own yard to kind of represent them and who they are. So that is the entire build. I did put this up on the gallery. It's called the Good versus Evil Fairy Houses, in case you wanted to download it. I hope you like this one. Let me know in the comment section if you actually want me to create these fairies, or if you decide to download it and create them them yourselves. Also, let me know if you want me to do a short little playthrough with fairies that live in this house. If you like this video, hit that like button. If you want to see more videos like this and continue to follow me on my journey in making content, hit that subscribe button. I thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye. Thank you for coming to my YouTube channel. See you next week.